Welcome to the May 20th, 2019 meeting for the Gaston County Board of Education. I'm Brent Moore, Crowders Mountain Township, and Chairman of the Board. And to my left is Kevin Collier, Vice Chairman of Riverbend Township. At this time, I would like to ask the other members of our board to introduce themselves.
I'm Lee Dedman, Gaston Township.
Terry Usry, Cherville Township.
Steve Hall, Dallas Township.
Doc Guthrie, Gastonia Township.
Jeff Ramsey, at-large member.
Dot Cherry, at-large member.
On behalf of the board, I would like to welcome everyone to our meeting tonight. This is an exciting time of year for our students, teachers, and parents who are working hard to finish out this year strong. This board appreciates all that you do, and we are proud of your hard work. Our first order of business is to have our prayer and pledge of allegiance. And I'd like to ask Dr. Booker to lead us in invocation and pledge.
Thank you. Please join me. Father God, we just praise you for all that you have given us and what we're allowed to celebrate, these accomplishments of our children and our faculty. Lord, we just thank you for blessing us with all these talents. We ask that you be with us in this meeting tonight. Guide us as we make decisions on behalf of our students and county. We just thank you for all that you do and all that you are. Amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our next order of business is to adopt the agenda. You have a proposed agenda before you. We need to do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Second.
Mr. Ramsey, Ms. Cherry. Any questions, discussions? Hearing none. All in favor of adopting the agenda, please raise your hand. The agenda is adopted. Our next order of business is to hear good news happening in our schools. Dr. Booker, give us some good news.
We have a lot of good news, and thus we have a full boardroom this evening. I want to start and ask Uriel Museed if you could come forward from the Highland School of Technology. Uriel was chosen as a Leadership Enterprise for a Diverse American Scholar program, which is part of Princeton University. He will travel all expenses paid to New Jersey for the program, which runs for most of the summer. There were only 100 students accepted from across the country to participate in this program. So we would like to recognize him, but at the same time, you need to know he has also been accepted into Project Uplift, and he also will take part in the Health Occupation Students of American National event. He is also a Ron Brown Scholar. He is also just a great young man.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Mr. Dedman.
You're welcome. Congratulations, young man. Is Ms. McLean here? That's okay. You don't have to come up yet, Ms. McLean. I'm going to go in your place. They said you could take the former principal. But we are just want you to know we're so proud of you. You're a bright-eyed young man. You have the whole world in front of you. And on behalf of the Board of Education, Mr. Moore, our chairman, and Dr. Booker, our superintendent, I'd like to award you with this certificate. Leadership Enterprise for a Diverse American Scholar. I'm really proud of you. Congratulations. Let Mr. McLean, now you get in the middle of this.
Thank you.
We'll hold hands back here. Mr. McLean. That's not a problem. If his parents would come up and take a few pictures. Congratulations. If you'll-
Next, I'd like to invite two of our students from Gaston Early College High School to come forward, Genevieve Starr and Reed Martin. Are they with us tonight? One. Well, Genevieve, you get to be a solo. Okay. Right there. Thank you. Well, it's fitting that you are by yourself when I say what you have accomplished. We have in front of us someone who scored a perfect score on the reading section of the ACT. So I know you're embarrassed by that, but we're very proud of you. And mine was nowhere near perfect, so congratulations for that. And Mr. Hall, if you'd recognize Genevieve, please.
We'll say congratulations to you, and it's an honor for me too, but I'm from Gaston College, and my last project was from college. And congratulations and to Mr. Chairman Brent Moore and our Superintendent, Dr. Wilson. Congratulations.
Ms. Hawk, a little bit closer. There you go. All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we've recognized high school students. I want to turn to Pleasant Ridge Elementary and ask some first graders to come forward, Miles Bone and Hudson Bader. Come on forward to the X up here, gentlemen. They are here to be recognized for their participation in our annual math fair, and then they went on to represent Pleasant Ridge in the regional math fair at Appalachian State University. You think they didn't shock some folks with their height when they showed up at Appalachian State? But it's really impressive. They were recognized for their project, Life-Saving Math Lessons. Miles, who has type 1 diabetes, uses math in his everyday life to make sure he stays healthy. Hudson showed great interest and understanding in the math involved with the diagnosis related to type 1 diabetes. And this inspired the students in their class to learn about carb counting, decimals, addition of multiple numbers, multiplication, and conversion charts. You all did hear me say first grade, right? And they both earned an honorable mention award at the regional competition. So congratulations to these two young men.
Long time ago, we were taught the 3 R's. reading, writing, and arithmetic. And boys, I could sing a little song, 1, 2, buckle my shoe. But I want to say, gentlemen from Pleasant Ridge, we are proud of you. Let's give them another. Hudson, we are very proud of you, as well as Mr. Miles Bone. And on behalf of our board chair and superintendent and our board, we are so proud of you, and we always celebrate with you when you win very special awards. And we thank you for the dedication and for your commitment, okay? All right, so now, Hudson, I am going to present you with this very special certificate, and I'm going to ask you to hold it like that. You're very welcome. And Mr. Bone, I am going to do the same for you and ask that you hold it like that. And boys, if you don't mind, scoot over and I'm going to slide it in.
Slide into. All right. Let's bring him just a bit closer to you, Ms. Guthrie. Yeah.
And do we have family members who would like to join in the picture?
Parents,
Teachers, Mr. Cook?
teachers,
And Ms. Guthrie, you got a couple more to recognize.
so
You'll have a couple more after these.
You get your picture? Thank you.
boys, let your parents hold on to your certificate. We want you to walk around and shake their hand.
Great job. Keep up the good work. Good job. Keep it up.
You notice Mr. Cook's garden, he don't want anybody to recruit these students away from Pleasant Ridge. Don't go far, Mr. Cook. We have two more first graders from Pleasant Ridge, Lawrence Martin and Roxanne Hogan. Are they with us tonight?
Lawrence is, Roxanne's not.
Okay, Lawrence? This team also earned an honorable mention at the Regional Math Fair. Again, first graders participating. They did a project about origami. They learned the history of the art, focused on the attributes of polygons. It's a real-world skill that will help them as they start building and creating other more complex designs, and we're very proud of them. So we wanted to recognize them tonight. Ms. Guthrie.
You can use your fingers and create creative things, right? With a little paper and a little tear here and a little tear there. We are so proud of you, and we have this very special certificate to show you just how proud we are of you. So I'm going to present this to you on behalf of all those folks that are sitting behind you, okay? So here you are, and I want you to hold it like that. Your parents here tonight? Please ask them to come forward. Mr. Cook.
Way to go, Lawrence.
You just look more than Ms. Guthrie. There you go. Big smile. All right, thank you.
You give your certificate to Mom, and I want you to sign it. Check it
So both of those teams received recognition at the regional level. We also want to recognize Akila Taylor, who was unable to be here tonight. She's a fifth grader, and she placed third in the regional competition with her titled project, Math Movers. But she went on to the state level and received an honorable mention at the state math fair. So this is just an example of what goes on in all of our elementary schools. But the math fair is something that Pleasant Ridge embraced as part of their gifted program, and so it's amazing to see what they have accomplished in 2 short years. So thank you, Mr. Cook, and to all your team. Well, last night was a big night for Gaston County. Many of you have heard of the Bloomy Awards, and this is the entire Charlotte region where they review the theater programs, and there were over 40 schools that competed in the Bloomy Awards. There are 12 awards that are handed out to the entire Charlotte region. You have walking before you 3 of the 12 awards. So on my left, your right, is Emily Harris. She won the Bloomy Technical Achievement Award for her costume design work related to their production of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Along with this, Emily earned the prestigious Mary Doctor Performing Arts Scholarship, which is worth $10,000 a year each of her 4 years of college. So it's great that she won the individual achievement, but on my right and your left is Mr. Stowe, who's holding the Bloomy Award for Best Costume Creation, which Emily supervised, listen to this, the work of 54 students and 5 adult volunteers in the creation of 134 different costume pieces to put on the show. So that's 2 of the Bloomies. Now imagine 47 different shows and all the different actors and actresses that would perform in a supporting role. And these judges go out across and review all of these shows, and they narrow it down to 6 young actors, and then they select 1 actor for supporting actor, the best in that whole competition. Alex Manley, who would that be? So Schroeder from You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, played by Alex Manley, was selected out of all of the supporting actors in the Charlotte region. Wow. Quite an accomplishment. So of the 47 schools participating, 3 were from Gaston County, obviously Stuart W. Kramer, Forest View, and Highland also. And so they were featured in both the opening and closing acts. And for those of you who are unable to see it live, I encourage you on next Tuesday at 8 p.m. it will be broadcast on WTVI PBS Charlotte. It has multiple showings after that, but it is well worth the investment of the time just to see the talent that is throughout our region, but really what is brought home was what our 3 schools represented and showed why the arts are alive in Gaston County. So thank you all for being with us tonight. And the 2 board members standing also attended last night.
Mr. Booker, I just want to say real quick, if you've never been to the Bloomies, it is just an incredible experience to attend. These young men and young women are professionals. I mean, they could act on any stage in this country. These are professionals. These schools are chosen from South Carolina and North Carolina, and it's private schools, it's charter schools that only do performing arts. They specialize in performing arts. So to have one of our schools step up and win these awards over that kind of competition is incredible. They also have budgets well over $50,000 that they put in their performances sometimes. And what was your budget?
Well, our set, we spent $175.
And they're competing against incredibly talented schools that spend a lot of money on these performances. But I was just blown away, and Emily won a scholarship from the doctors. I mean, Marina will host this thing. It is a really big event. It's black tie, so you have to come dressed to go. But then she turns right around and wins the technical award, and we were just blown away back to back. And then, as Mr. Booker says, for Alex to beat all those candidates and just to hear them all perform is just phenomenal. But when you hear Alex, you can understand how he got chosen. So, yeah. But Mr. Ramsey, we have a certificate on behalf of the Board of Education thanking you for your appreciation, and it's signed by our superintendent, Mr. Booker, and our chairman, Mr. Moore. And I'll let you give these out. And if you don't mind, can we just let Alex and Emily just tell, they gave great acceptance speeches last night, but just a little bit about what they did to win their awards.
I'll let you start out.
All right, your acceptance speech section.
Thank you. Wait, can you repeat that one more time?
Just tell us about your experience.
The experience, I was speechless, and I'm still speechless now, even after like 24 hours. But there really are no words. I remember sitting backstage, and I was just like waiting for them to call names, and I don't know how to explain it. It's breathtaking and it's exhilarating, nonetheless. But yeah.
All right, so my experience this year was a little bit special, especially from last year. So last year, I received the technical achievement for the first time, which was amazing because I was only a junior. This year, we were performing. I was up for best costumes and I was getting technical achievement, and they were all back to back. So I accepted my technical achievement award, and then I had to take off my shoes and run across the stage in order to get back there for best costume award. And then I had to go out for that, which I didn't know I was getting. And then right after that, they call his name for best actor. And then one more award was announced, and then we performed. So that was great. Everything happened in a matter of 15 minutes.
And Chuck, can you explain them about the Jimmy Awards and the Tony Awards and how much level this is?
The Blumey Awards are a regional North and South Carolina award that feeds into the Jimmy Awards in New York. So next year we'll be standing here with Alex's Best Actor Award. I'm just in my face, but they feed the Best Actor and Best Actress from the Blumey Awards move on to New York for a week-long experience in June there and competing with students across the nation doing that. And then feed into other programs from there. In the past 9 years that they've been doing the Jimmy Awards, there have been 7 people from Charlotte that have moved on from there to be Tony nominated, and as they've moved into acting roles. Several years ago, Ava Noblezada was seen as a junior in high school, was seen and offered a lead role in a show in London. From that, she actually finished school in December, graduated early, and went on. She was Best Actress. Did not win the Jimmy Awards, but won a much better thing, a contract. She has now been nominated for 2 Tonys. Abby Corrigan has been nominated for 2 Tony Awards. She's another Charlotte student who's gone through this program. So the Blumey Awards open doors for our students and give them opportunities to be able to apply for the scholarship that Emily got for the New York trip that the board has recognized our Gaston County students in the past for those opportunities that are life-changing, that the doors open because of participating in the Blumey Awards.
Thank you.
And this wouldn't happen without teachers like Mr. Stowe doing this job.
Bring your assistant.
And guys, we could not do what we do without Ms. Devine. Her leadership and support is absolutely phenomenal, and we greatly appreciate her. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sit down, Mr. Collier.
Mr. Bell, we want parents. We got parents.
Yeah, they-
Come on, parents.
Get her beside. Get her beside down.
Yeah, beside.
Big smile. All right.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
y'all,
Thank you.
Go make your rounds. While we're talking about arts, I'd like to ask Gastonia City Council member Jim Gallagher to come forward. Many of you know Mr. Gallagher is a strong advocate for the arts, and he has always made sure that our students get an opportunity to be included in any recognition that's available. He often encourages students to take part in different programs, and tonight we have with him as well Marty Hutchins. Marty, don't hide back there. Come on up. And some of, did you bring any students with you, sir? Come on. Okay. Great. Good. So, Mr. Gallagher, we want to let you know we appreciate all that you do, and this mic is yours, sir.
Appreciate it a whole bunch. I just want to say thank you for this award. It means a lot. But know that all the praise really needs to go to all the student artists who participated in the art show. And, you know, the teachers who have gone above and beyond the call of duty. Hold on a second. Teachers such as Carrie Crowley, the art teacher at Ashbrook. In Forest View is also Jennifer Reagan and Marty Hutchins right here from Highland. I want to say thank you to them. Marty was most helpful, and he gave so much of his time in making sure that this show was a success. We wanted to develop a plan to give winners of the Downtown Art Show the maximum amount of exposure to the greatest amount of people. I am proud to announce that the student art will be on display at the Gastonia Conference Center for this entire year. Next year, we are hoping to open the downtown art event to even more Gaston County schools so we can keep the momentum going. I cannot express how proud I am of our students and how crucial it is that we as a community continue to encourage their art every way we can. Lyndon B. Johnson, president, said, "Art is the nation's most precious heritage, for it is our works of art that we reveal ourselves and to others the inner vision which guides us as a nation. And where there is no vision, the people perish." Our students have true vision, and I am proud to be a small part in putting that creativity on display. Once again, thank you all to the art students who participated and their art teachers who do a tremendous job with these students and honing their talents. Thank you to the school board for this opportunity, and especially to our own Dot Cherry, who really helped me get this project off the ground. I also appreciate the input and help from Superintendent Jeff Booker and all his administrative staff, and it's an honor and a privilege to accept this award on behalf of everyone who was involved. And up here we're showing some of the pictures that were that came out from the different students. And this is when we had the art show downtown. And they're great pictures. I mean, and I'm just looking for, this one I know is from Ashbrook, so is that one. This one's, is yours? And can you tell us a little bit about it?
So I have a farm in Cherryville, and what I did was I went around my farm. I just took a bunch of pictures on some abnormal stuff that we just have laying around. And I took that and then I put it into a software, and I just took different designs and put it together to get different colors.
It's awesome, really, really awesome. So
Can I elaborate on
please, here you want.
He called me 2 years ago and told me about this thing he wanted to do. He wanted to bring the city of Gastonia and the Gaston County schools together through art and highlight downtown, get people downtown, but highlight our wonderful art teachers and our art students. So Marty, some other people got together and worked with him, and he's interesting to work with. And so this is our second year doing this, and it keeps growing and growing and growing. So not only is it beneficial to the city of Gastonia, go Gaston, but it's extremely beneficial to our school system because it shows the talent that we have in our school system. So it's a win-win for everybody. And I can't thank him enough for putting his faith in the talent that we have right here in Gaston County, and the vision that you've got and how he wants to continue to expand this. So on behalf of the school board and Chairman Moore and Superintendent Booker and my fellow board members, I want to present you with this plaque for the vision that you have, and I can't wait to see what next year's going to bring. So you get over here. Well, we're going to get them next year.
Sorry, Dan, help out a whole bunch. Come on. Come on.
Thank you. Thank you.
You want me to slip through the rest?
I didn't expect that.
Good, I know it was. On the money.
His wife has the best
Guys, I'm over here. I have another meeting after you for release of these, so it's all right.
Thank you. You're dismissed.
Thanks, Joe.
So we value the arts, but we also understand that we have excellent athletics in Gaston County. So tonight we wanted to recognize 3 state champions in track and field. From South Point High School, Zane Andrews from South Point High School. From Highland School of Technology, Lauren Tolbert. And from Bessemer City, Jacia Guthrie. If you all would come forward. Just think about the normal average height of a human being is around 5'10" for a male. Zane, you cleared 14 feet in the pole vault? Is that correct? Congratulations. 14 feet. Just think about extending and leaping up and landing. 14 feet. And then Lauren, you see all the medals she's hanging there. She's the state champion in the 400-meter dash and finished second in the 800-meter run. And Josiah Guthrie couldn't be with us tonight, but she also was the most outstanding performer as she won 3 events in track and field, and she also set a state record when she ran the 100-meter dash in 12.08 seconds. So congratulations to all 3 of these champions, and Mr. Davis, if we recognize the 2 with us.
Well, I may not look like it, but I ran cross country in high school, so I know what kind of hard work these folks put in. So congratulations to both of you. It is a ton of work. And I just have to ask, when do you start pole vaulting to be able to do 14 feet?
I started jumping when I was a freshman.
Okay.
My last meet of the season accomplishment was my first meet ever. So, and it just took off from there. So.
Well, congratulations to both of you. That's outstanding. We're very proud of you. It's hard work, and it obviously paid off. So on behalf of the board chairman, Mr. Moore, and our superintendent, Mr. Booker, we want to present you with certificates of recognition on your accomplishments. So Lauren, congratulations to you. And Zane, congratulations to you. We're very proud of you. And your parents are here and your coaches. Y'all come on up. And if the principals are here, come up too.
Let me switch. Perfect. There we go. All right. You can get a shot. Sure. All right, guys. Perfect. And always step around. We'll have to board you after that afterwards. It's a great job. Give her a trophy case.
So, as an organization, we talk about that our community will only be as healthy as our school system is. And one of the things I think that we pride ourselves on is our participation in United Way. United Way is an organization that supports public education in Gaston County, and so we try to be a leader organization in that. And tonight we want to recognize a number of our schools. First, I'd like to call forward the schools that had 100% staff participation in their school. Brookside Elementary, Cherryville High School, Costner Elementary, Forest View High School, W.C. Friday Middle, Hawks Nest STEAM Academy, North Gaston High School, Rankin Elementary, and Stuart W. Kramer High School. All of these schools had 100% staff participation.
That's great.
Money. Thank you to all of you. This was always one of my favorite activities as a principal, to encourage the staff to give from the heart, because we know that it goes to help so many people. This is for Brookside Elementary School. Congratulations. For Cherryville High School. Yes, sir. Costner Elementary School. Thank you, ma'am. Stuart W. Kramer.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Forest View. Let me see. Hawks Nest. North Gaston.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Interesting. Rankin Elementary.
Superintendent's office.
Superintendent's office. Gosh, Dr. Booker, this is for you and your office.
Get down there.
Well, thank you.
Ready to pitch now.
Yeah, we need to, those schools with plaques need to be in a row. Get a plaque. Let's put the people here. That's right. One more person. Much. Fine. There you go. All right. I got it. Thank you.
Some of you need to stay close because we're now going to recognize the schools that increased their giving by more than 50%. So I'd like to ask Carr Elementary, Forest View High School, Greer Middle School, Mount Holly Middle School, New Hope Elementary School, Springfield Elementary School, Stanley Middle School, W.A. Best Elementary School, Woodhill Elementary School, and York Chester Middle School to come forward, please. These schools all increased by more than 50%.
Next, we will recognize the schools that were the highest in their respective peer groups. The highest fundraiser among our elementary schools was Gardner Park Elementary, if they'll come forward, please. The highest total for our fundraising among middle schools was Southwest Middle School. And then the highest in the high schools was Forest View High School. And the central office department with the highest amount was Academic Services. Dr. Faulkner. And while Mr. Ushery hands those out, I will say that this collective group of you've seen recognized, we collected more than $108,000 towards the United Way campaign, which is a 9% increase over last year. And for the overall campaign, Mr. Ushery, you get to receive a trophy. We were recognized by the Chamber with the Eagle Award for the leadership of the school system in the United Way campaign. So thank you all for all the hard work related to that.
Come on up. There we go. There you go. Hauser, okay. Smile. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's kind of like my cousin.
You can keep it there in front of you, sir.
Yes.
Yep. Thank you to all the effort put forth by our schools, again, to be a leader in the community is greatly appreciated. And Mr. Chairman, that is a lot of great news, and that concludes my report, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Booker. There is one more additional item of good news that we would like to share this evening. You probably have realized by now that we're referring to Superintendent Booker as Dr. Booker. It is official. Dr. Booker has received his doctorate degree in education from Gardner-Webb on Saturday, May the 11th. This board is extremely proud of our superintendent, and we commend and congratulate him on achieving this milestone. Congratulate him on achieving this milestone that recognizes him on a visionary leader and an expert in education. We're so fortunate to have him with us, leading Gaston County Schools and moving us forward. Congratulations, Dr. Booker.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is the approval and corrections of the minutes from our past meetings. Tonight, we are asking for the approval for the minutes of April 15th, 2019. I need a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Mr. Hall, and second, Ms. Cherry. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes from the meeting as presented, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. We don't have any. The next item on our agenda is our classroom moments. At each of our meetings during the school year, we like to permit time on the agenda to highlight some good work going on in our classrooms. Dr. Booker, what do you have for us at this time?
Well, I'm going to ask Mr. Montgomery and team to come forward and share with some of the things that are going on in our high schools.
Thank you, Chairman Moore, Superintendent Booker, members of the board. We are thrilled to be able to bring before you tonight some of the wonderful things going on in our high schools. You're going to notice a theme that has been running across what you're going to hear tonight, and that is institutionalized practice, instructional strengths, but also the idea that we support teacher growth. And so tonight, with that said, we have 3 schools represented by 5 outstanding educators. We have Ms. Hudson from North Gaston, who is one of our science teachers. We have 2 from Ashbrook that are our Delta Fellows, Mr. Collins, media specialist, and Mr. Griffin, who is one of our high school math teachers at Ashbrook. We also have 2 outstanding English teachers from Forest View High School, Mrs. O'Brien and Mrs. Jarrett. And with that said, get ready for an awesome 10 minutes. Ms. Hudson.
Okay, good evening. So I learned to drive a stick shift on an old dump truck that was probably more corrosion than color by the time my family purchased it. And I've often drawn parallels between learning to drive that old behemoth and learning to teach. So I'm excited, I want to go somewhere, but just like learning to drive that dump truck, sometimes it's hard to find second, the gears kind of grind, and stalling is inevitable. That is before coaching experiences with Mr. Stubbs helped me to discover a classroom atmosphere that turned out to be that elusive 5th gear, and finding that those transitions didn't have to be so grinding. But I needed that coach to guide me through those skills while we were rolling, so to speak, much like my father helped me wade through those stalls that we had when I was growing up. And from the first day of Verso training, I knew I'd stumbled onto something powerful. Honestly, though, when Mr. Stubbs threw a piece of butcher paper on my desk, I kind of sighed inside. But by the time the activity about photosynthesis was done, I was left with a sense of wonder. I had to analyze and synthesize, collaborate and correct, and I engaged with a familiar concept in a novel way. That prompt was uniquely designed. The Verso app provided anonymity to protect my pride, and the competition made it fun. I had had a brief glimpse of what a great lesson could look like, and I recall thinking, that was different and amazing. I've had 4 Verso coachings, and each has stretched me just a bit farther. The energy and feel of the classroom causes students to be more calm, focused, and to interact with each other effectively. And this is just an illustration of one of the Verso lessons that I've had in my classroom. And I found the insight of Mr. Stubbs to be very helpful, and during each observation, he broadened my perspective. Not only is Verso a learning platform, it's also a conglomeration of strategies directly linked to research-proven principles. Each time I refer to their library, I have the confidence knowing that that strategy will work. I can see how my thinking and practice have evolved as a result of my Verso interactions. Verso harnesses the power of visual and kinesthetic learning forces. Translating learning into something visual serves as a daily reminder of what students have learned and also provides them a sense of ownership. Through the experience of real-time feedback, I've realized I'm capable of more than I originally thought, and I just needed that skilled coach in the front seat next to me. And that's one lesson I can definitely take back to my classroom. Thank you.
Thank you guys for having us. We're really excited about a lot of the things that are going on at Ashbrook High School, but we're here tonight because we're especially excited about the makerspace area that we're creating for our students and staff.
We're so proud, in fact, that we started talking, we'd take up all night. So we decided we would show you instead. We'll gladly entertain any questions you have after everything's done. Nope. Just click start.
Several years ago, I started thinking about creating a makerspace in our media center to provide an area where students can come in and do some true hands-on learning. And I got an NC grant through the Gaston Education Foundation for a vinyl sign cutter. And it's been a great learning tool for our students. So I was trying to think of ways to grow this makerspace area in our media center so we to become even more of a learning hub for our school. Right now we have a great space for our kids to learn, a great space not just for the students but for the teachers to develop professionally.
Hey, I'm Brandon Wright. I teach carpentry, electrical, and a intro construction class.
Okay, and your kids did a good job on the makerspace. What do you think they got out of it?
Probably the biggest thing they got out of it was some real life, hands-on experience, outside of the shop, a real world situation as far as building and wiring and that kind of stuff.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
tell us who you are?
I'm Cordell Criswell. I'm a junior at Ashbrook High School.
Okay.
And I was building this room, sound room.
Okay. And what class were you in when you were doing this?
Electrical trades 1 and 2.
Okay, one of our CTE classes. And what were some of the things you guys did in here?
We put in 3-way switches, an on-air sign, and quite a few lights, and then hooked it up to the box.
Hi, I'm Sadia Blackman, a 10th grader at Ashbrook High School. I actually liked the podcast experience. It was pretty nice.
I think this is something that you might do something with later on, the podcasting or what you did your project on?
Yes, I definitely do think I would do something later on with more podcasts. Hi, my name is Rachel Lowry.
And Rachel, you did a project using the podcast equipment in the makerspace. What did you think about that?
Yes, I used it and I really loved it. It was something cool that I probably couldn't do at other schools.
Is this something that you might do something with later on, or?
Yes, I kind of want to do a podcast next year with a friend to be able to use this equipment more because I just loved it so much.
We both love listening to podcasts and learning things from podcasts. And so, Tripp, you want to tell us kind of where it went from there with the Delta?
So, as Andrew said, we were both huge fans of podcasts, and I thought, well, this would be really neat if we could get some things for the students to learn about podcasts and for us to learn about podcasts. And so we applied, we were approved, and purchased some equipment. That's where the Delta funds went.
We're just really, really excited about this opportunity, and we're really looking forward to growing this makerspace and making what started as a vision and has become a reality even bigger and better for our kids.
I'm Mrs. Jarrett, and Miss O'Brien and I are here because apparently we work really well together. So, amongst teachers, mention of PLCs evokes many images, emotions, and facial expressions. For many, PLC, or professional learning community, is a time often before or after the school day of round-robin reports of what each individual is doing in his or her classroom for the good of their students and the advancement of their curriculum, followed by the filling out of a one-size-fits-all form. The meeting consists of affirmations, questions about what to put in the form, and a promise to do it all again the next week. Growth, change, and consistency were possibilities, but not guarantees. For my first 4 years in education, regardless of school or content area, this was the model. Though PLCs were being pushed as priceless places for professional productivity, in practice they were largely a cumbersome, sometimes useful obligation. Then, two things happened simultaneously. Gaston County Schools provided training in which an effective PLC was modeled and analyzed, and Amanda O'Brien came to Forest View.
From our first meeting, Emily and I set out to develop a shared vision of the English 9 curriculum. Using Gaston County Schools curriculum documents and our prior experiences, we were able to sketch out an overview of the entire semester. Emily and I both have advanced degrees and certifications which highly influenced our conversations surrounding how to best approach teaching and learning. We used our extensive knowledge in regards to curriculum, pedagogy, and adolescent development to teach not only the curriculum but the very different students in our contexts. Our approach to teaching is balanced on the content and the student, a belief made evident by our focus on movement and growth mindset. Our PLC is no longer an obligation, but rather a part of our daily conversations. We often steal ideas from each other, sharing our documents, presentations, and assessments, just like an effective PLC should. As we reflect on our lesson plans, we frequently ask each other, is this valuable? Will this improve our instruction? Will this increase learning? These guiding questions are critical to our success.
Our administration's foresight in organizing a similar course schedule and common planning period means that we can plan together, teach together, which we often do, and learn together. Underscoring all of this is a firm belief in grace and affirmation. Ultimately, we are humans too, and recognize that we cannot pour from an empty bucket. The most effective PLCs are born from respect of colleagues and students, sure, but also respect of self and a little bit of humor. Thank you.
Aren't they just amazing? So, so a couple of the larger contexts that we really have been striving for is a culture of collaboration and culture of growth. And what you heard tonight embodies what we really want to happen in all of our schools and is happening across all of our schools. So it's also about a partnership in the investment in both culture of collaboration and culture of growth. And with that, we have some amazing school leaders that are here with us, and those are the supporters at each of their schools. So if I could ask their principals to please stand, Mrs. Hauser at Forest View, Dr. Wilson from Ashbrook, and Mr. Connor from North Gaston. We also have part of our district office support staff, as you heard reference in the Ashbrook video, but also our curriculum specialists. So Sarah Briggs, our curriculum facilitator for high school English, Carolyn Spencer, high school math, Rebecca Ray, secondary social studies, and also Bianca Yavalak, high school science. And as was referenced in the video and throughout what you heard in their statements, this really is about a partnership and a sustained investment in what is creating space for our teachers to grow, which in turn allows our students to grow. And we are so excited about what they are unleashing on our students. And with that, I'm going to get out of your way and open it up for questions or comments, and you can ask questions directly of them if you'd like.
Mr. Dedman.
I have one comment for Eric. I really liked your analogy about the truck. Can you now drive a Formula One car? I mean, I kept thinking about that. I like the way you stepped up to that, but I'm very proud of all of you, but I really like that one. I'm going to use that one somewhere. I like it. Good job. Your students are very lucky to have all of you as teachers.
Thank you.
And your principals to be here to support you. That's impressive, too.
May I please?
Ms. Guthrie.
And you deserved, I'm going to stand because you deserve that. Let me just tell you, from verse I heard, and I also heard, I'll sit now, we talk about the elementary children and how we use the strategies to get them all engaged in the power of learning. But you just said to us, you just showed us, you demonstrated to us the power of positive thinking from the leadership in the schools, understanding the significance and the importance of allowing you the time to collaborate as well as plan, work together. Through that collaboration of planning and working together, you afforded the opportunity in your classroom for every child to move from that fixed mindset to that growth mindset, which I really, really like. And then you tell me that via your podcast there, you're going to create in the hub of the school. What is the hub? The library. The hub of the school, a makerspace for high school students who have shown that they can become engaged if you provide them with the right tools for learning. I know now why Librarian of the Year, working together, congratulations. I think it's just awesome. We know that our children, I have seen it all through this year, children are excited about learning. They're excited about the diversity in the classroom. They are excited because the teachers are serving as facilitators and trying to meet the needs of every child or unique needs of every child in the school or in that classroom. I applaud you. I applaud you for your time, for your effort. And I'm going to say one more thing that's more or less out of the box. Robert F. Smith, in the graduation at Morehouse College on Saturday, did something called paying forward. You are paying forward to me when you dedicate your time, your gifts, and your service to our children. Because that old African proverb states, it takes a village to raise a child, and you are truly a very important part of that village. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm sorry, but I just had to say that. Thank you.
Ms. Cherry.
only comment that I want to make is ditto to everything about there. But I had the opportunity to see that room last week when I was at Ashbrook for another event. And Andrew showed me around, and I was just amazed, A, what you could do in a small space. You know, it didn't take a lot of room. He still has a wonderful media center. But the diversity that of activities that he's going to be able to offer in that room, and the exposure to so many different things for the kids at Ashbrook. It's phenomenal. So everybody needs to go see it, and we need to duplicate it throughout the system. So, and again, to all of y'all, this is exactly where we're wanting to go, is the more diverse things that we can offer, the more children want to learn, and the better our system is going to continue to be. So thank y'all for what you do.
And reading is embedded in all that you do. All that you're doing with the children, reading is embedded. That's what we want them to be able to do. Read and comprehend. It's happening. You can't produce something like that without allowing the children, or they can't understand what their little hands are doing if they don't read. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I just have a quick comment, and also the collaboration you did with the carpenter teacher with the CTE is huge, because what you do, create ownership to the school, and they feel a part of it even more, and that makes them feel like they want to learn even more, and that's their school. So thank all of y'all guys for thinking outside the box.
Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Montgomery, and your team. We want to get a picture with everybody? Okay.
Well, we can shake their hands while they're waiting. We appreciate what you do. Thank you.
I got my phone set up.
We'll be ready when it's ready.
Well, they said they left.
The next item on the agenda, I'd like to go back to number 6 on the agenda, public expression. We did not have anybody sign up tonight, so we'll move forward. Next item will be Operations Committee report. This is information, and Chairman Dedman.
Mr. Ramsey is going to.
Mr. Ramsey, okay.
Yeah, it's a hard act to follow, so I'll try my best. I'm waiting on Dot's comments afterwards. That's right. The Operation Committee met on Monday, May the 6th, 2019 at 3 p.m. We had a late night.
I don't feel so
here
bad
at
now.
the boardroom. Our committee includes Kevin Collier, Jeff Ramsey, Steve Hall, Lee Dedman, Brent Moore. Our agenda and discussion include the following. Joy Clinton, our Human Resource Executive Director, informed us that North Carolina law will require a criminal history check on any person that may work with the pre-K students in all our facilities. Previously, the public schools were on the waiver for this type of background check, but the waiver expired on September the 30th, 2019. Gaston County Schools have a criminal history check on all employees. This change included in our policy updates. Jennifer Reed, the principal at East Gaston School, the school improvement team, has proposed that we change the name of the East Gaston High School Health Science Academy to Caramont Health Science Academy at East Gaston High School. Caramont, with their corporate partnership, will provide us $500,000 over a 5-year period, including internships for students and monthly activities for the parents and staff. This item will appear on the consent agenda for the action. And as we all know, you saw the big announcement for the new hospital. That kind of ties in. The paper hadn't covered that yet, but they probably will eventually. But basically, it goes to our new theme. We're creating pathways for our students where they can graduate and start a job, and that'll be to hopefully get them jobs at Caramont. Stanley Middle School update on the athletic fields will be completed in June. Irrigation for the football fields in. Stone around the track is down and completed, and paving will be very soon. 80% of the concession stand is complete, and the press box has been installed and wired. Grading continue at Belmont Middle School. 100% of the storm drain water piping is complete. Curbs and gutters have started to be put in at this time. Classroom walls are now going up and being topped off on the second floor. This site is moving along very well. I've heard a lot of people in that area couldn't believe how fast they're moving. Capital projects are underway, and lists can be viewed on Gaston County Schools for all of our school sites for the summer. Glenn Bratton, our Security Compliance Manager, discussed procedure-related forms and documents are submitted monthly and yearly from the schools, which help ensure school safety and security for our students and staff. And you would not believe these binders. They're that big. I mean, this is a ton of work, and you don't get to see all this work behind the scene, but that's why we're ranked #1 in the state of North Carolina for safety, because we're proactive. And when you see all these other schools starting to do these other things, we've already been doing it. So it's amazing what goes in behind the scenes on this. Michael Nance, our safety manager, explained what he does on a daily basis to help eliminate and reduce hazards that can cause injuries to students, employees, and visitors. He serves as our liaison between the insurance carriers and other agencies such as OSHA. There are currently no change orders to discuss, and our next scheduled meeting is August the 5th, 2019 at 4 a.m. I was going to make sure y'all was paying attention. 4 p.m. at the board room. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ramsey. Next item on our agenda is a Curriculum and Instruction Committee report, and this information item, and Chair. Okay, Mrs. Cherry.
The Curriculum and Instruction Committee met on May 7th. The meeting was called to order at 5:30 p.m. Members present were Dot Guthrie, Terry Usry, Brent Moore, Melissa Balknight, and Lolita Williams. Minutes were approved for the meeting on April 1st. Hunter House High School presented Discovery Cafe, a format for students to provide feedback to staff and network with each other. Mr. Denton highlighted some of the Upward Bound students' activities at that time. High school students from various Gaston County schools also shared their views on vaping. Staff shared information on policies and procedures relating to pre-kindergarten and students' records. These policies appear on tonight's agenda. Jennifer Reap also came to the curriculum meeting to report on the information that Mr. Ramsey just reported about the name change for the Health Sciences Academy. 12 school libraries received renovations during the 18-19 school year. 6 additional media centers will be renovated this summer and ready for the August 19 opening of schools. Having no further business, the meeting was adjourned at 6:40 p.m. The next meeting will be Monday, June 3rd, 2019 at 5:30
a.m.
p.m. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Cherry. Our next item on the agenda is School Nutrition 2019-2020 bids. This is an action item. It's Dr. Morgan Houchard.
Good evening, Chairman Moore, Board of Education members, Dr. Booker. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. Before Angela presents the school nutrition update and bid documentation, I want to take a few minutes to tell you how proud we are and impressed we are with the work our school nutrition team does every day. From the central kitchen to our cafeterias, they work hard to provide 27,000 dinners a year at 3 schools, 90,000 snacks a year at 11 schools, 1,530,000 breakfasts in our schools a year, 3,420,000 lunches a year at our school. It's impressive, the work that they do. Yeah. We had the great opportunity to get together last Tuesday to celebrate their success with all of our child nutrition workers and recognize the hard work and efforts that they do. It surprised me how many employees we have that are celebrating 20, 30, and 35 years of service with us. They are a dedicated team. As you know, they work hard every day. What they do is so vital to the success of our school and to the growth of our children. So I am truly fortunate and blessed to work with such dedicated people and thankful for all the work that they do. So I just wanted to recognize them and thank them publicly for all that they do. Now, we'd like Angela to come up, and she's going to give us a brief presentation on school nutrition update and bid documentation.
Oh, yes.
Angela.
Great. Oh, I could tell.
Thank you, Dr. Houchard, for your kind comments. We have an amazing team in school nutrition, and I'm very fortunate to have them. Good evening, Chairman Moore, Vice Chairman Collier, members of the board, Superintendent Booker. Thank you for having me tonight to share my brief School Nutrition 2019 report. This is not the beginning. Okay, so school nutrition participation, I'm happy to report, is strong, remains strong and stable at 65%, which is excellent. Our breakfast participation has increased this year from 25%, or a little under 25, to 28%. And we still have 19 schools with community eligibility, which means that all students in those schools are eligible for free breakfast and lunch, and that will continue into next year, which is a wonderful thing. No applications are necessary for parents to fill out. And our economically disadvantaged students, or free and reduced, is still at about 64% in our district. Oops. I'm happy to say that financially, school nutrition is in good standing. We have a positive fund balance with 2.5 months of operating reserves, which is what's recommended, which allows us to not have to raise meal prices next year, which I'm very happy about. Even though when we do the paid lunch equity calculation, it says that we should. We have a waiver because of our fund balance, which I have already checked with DPI and I'm thrilled about. So our charged meal balance or student debt is just about what it was at this time last year. Well, actually, we actually did this report in June last year, so I expect it to come down because in this next month we do collect quite a bit of student debt. So it's actually looking better this year. Summer feeding, which we are ready to embark again upon, starts June 6th, the day after school ends, which is a tight turnaround, but we have 90 sites already scheduled, 50 school sites and 40 campsites within the community, and we also have a bus again delivering to 3 sites in the community, one of which is Lineberger Park, which actually brings the meals to the students, so they can't get to one of the sites, which is a wonderful thing. Other community outreach, we have continued to support Gaston County Head Start pre-K program with 120 breakfast and lunch and snack meals each day. We partner with the Dairy Alliance and No Kid Hungry. We continue our partnership with Catawba Heights Baptist Church, which is a very big food recovery program. As you know, a lot of our schools, when we have excess that we cannot utilize, we donate to Catawba Heights, and they come to just about every school to pick the food up. And we will have, starting next year, year-round partnerships with the YMCA. Right now, we do just summer feeding, but next year we're going to do some supper programs for them. So that's going to be a wonderful thing. I told you a little bit when we met with the Operations Committee about the breakfast grant that we embarked upon this year. It was a grant through No Kid Hungry, the Dairy Alliance, and the Governor's Office, and we got funds to pilot a breakfast program in 4 schools: Hunter Huss, Ashbrook, Chapel Grove, and North Belmont. These programs were for an alternate type of breakfast, a grab-and-go, which students can take on the run when they don't have enough time before class, and in the 2 high schools, a second chance breakfast, which means that after first period, they stop by and have breakfast before they go to second period. And this next slide shows you how successful this has been. It's only been 8 weeks, and we have not seen any decline. At first, I thought maybe it would just be, something that was a novelty, but it has really taken off, especially as you can see in the 2 high schools, Ashbrook and Hunter Huss. We have more than, especially in Ashbrook, doubled our participation at breakfast, which is amazing. And it keeps growing. So, and even in the 2 elementary schools, it's significant. We put a cart at an alternate location so that children that came via car riders could access breakfast instead of going down to the cafeteria. And that has really helped. So our projects and goals for next school year, 1920, we would like to increase breakfast participation. We have a Dairy Alliance grants for additional schools, 8 additional schools to do a similar breakfast program. So we're looking to see where is the best opportunity to do that for next year. And also, as I mentioned, we're going to expand our supper program. Right now, we have supper in 2 schools within the district, and we're going to expand that to 11 schools next year. Some of those have a snack program already, which we would like to transition to a supper program, so it's a more variety and a heartier meal for those students. So that's those, and that's about 400 students a day. And the other would be in 9 community sites, which we do not have any right now. Some of is YMCA and some is Boys and Girls Club. So that's an additional 500 supper meals per day. Also, we have already set the menu for next year. We have to plan way ahead for food ordering and bids, and we are going to expand the menu cycle. What that means is that the menu is not going to repeat. It's going to repeat more often. Right now in high school, it's a 1-week cycle menu, and every week you have the same items. So in high school, it's going to be a 3-week, as well as in elementary and middle school. So it's going to offer more variety for the students. It's still a lot of the items that they like. It's just more items and not as regularly, because we do get some menu fatigue, if you always have the same items. So there will be more variety as well. And of course, we ensure compliance with all aspects of the Healthy, Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010, which I have to say in 2019 still has not been reauthorized. However, in December of 2018, there was some changes, and I know you've heard about some of those. And one of those things was that they kind of loosened the restrictions on the whole grains. So next year, we're going to offer white hamburger buns and biscuits so that we can get a little more acceptability. At least half will still be whole grain, but it's more appealing to the students. So since they lifted some of that, also kind of halted the sodium restriction, which was supposed to keep getting stricter and stricter each year. So we're going to stay where we were with sodium, which is really strict enough for students. They don't need a low sodium diet. And we're going to offer an increased amount of fruits and vegetables daily, fresh and otherwise. In our central kitchen, we've already started this year in our pilot programs, we are going to make smoothies. A smoothie is a breakfast item. It's actually almost a complete breakfast once you give a grain, because it's got the yogurt and the fruit, and the kids are loving it. I mean, we have different flavors that we vary, and we're making them in central kitchen and sending them out. We're also doing a yogurt parfait for lunch, which is a complete meal, for especially in high school where they just want to grab and go. And it looks really pretty. It tastes good, too. We're going to do various amount of lunch boxes, which is kind of like a bento box with different things, professionally sealed in our kitchen so they can grab and go with that as well. And we're going to offer a different variety of entree salads, which the kids really like the entree salad, but they get tired of the same one. So that's really exciting. And I'm fortunate, we have that central kitchen where we can do some of these things. It's not every district has that opportunity. We are also excited about our freezer and dry storage expansion project, which is scheduled to begin in the fall of 2019. As you know, we are having a freezer built, and right now in its place we have 3 frozen trailers, which are difficult to navigate. It's hard to get in and out and get what you need and store what we need. So once that's built, we'll discontinue the rental of those 3 trailers. We will buy direct from our manufacturers. We process a lot of commodity items, and right now we have to send them to the distributor, pay the distributor, store it for us, and then pay them to deliver it. So we will cut that out once we have a freezer, and the products will come straight to us, and we can distribute to the schools right from our central kitchen. So that's going to offer us a better USDA and commodity management of our products. Other goals we have are embarked on a marketing and social media campaign. Our goal is to engage students, parents, and the school community. It's going to be menu-focused, meeting students where they are with useful info on our app. So we know that students are on their phones. We want them to use their app to see what's on the menu that day, the next day, and forward. And it has nutritional information, and we're going to launch that when school opens next year. But I'm really excited about that. We're also going to use signage, packaging, and improve our presentation of the food, meet the students where they are, what they see on the outside. And we're going to advertise and promote the use of our online meal application. We've had it this will be our 3rd year now, and we're really underutilizing it. So we need to get that out to the community so they know it's much easier than the paper app for parents to fill out. So just to give you a little flavor of what our social media campaign is going to look like, of course, that's our website on where it says online menus. This is a little picture of the app and how, once they download, what they can see. And then, of course, we're on Instagram. I encourage you to follow us on Instagram. We have a story that begins with what happens in the central kitchen, and we plan to take it out on the trucks and to the schools so people see what really happens and where it's all coming from. This is just an idea. You can see all the fresh salads and fresh produce that I don't think people realize we really have in what we're doing over in Central Kitchen. So this is just the beginning. We're excited about what's to come. And before we go into questions, this is our agenda item of approving the bids for next year, which is an action item that is for your approval. To put my glasses on. You have this in your packet. But we have many bids that are rollover. The biggest bid is the Procurement Alliance distributor bid from U.S. Foods. It's a rollover. The increased change that you see there is just any price fluctuations in food. But the actual case delivery price and all that is a rollover. And many of the bids there's just small fluctuations in, whoops, what did I do? So that's for your approval.
We need to go ahead and do the motion.
I need a motion to approve the. Okay, Ms. Guthrie,
Second.
Ms. Cherry. Any discussion, questions?
I wish you'd have brought some cookies for us.
Mr. Chair.
That's an inside joke.
You think I would have learned by now?
Smoothies, food parfait.
I would like to add a couple of things. As most of you know, Angela joined us this year and has brought a lot of energy to the department. And she was modest in some of her reports. A couple of accomplishments that I know of. One, coming in from the outside, you all get calls. People want to know, why haven't you privatized your cafeteria operations? Other people do this. We actually did bring in one of the leading national vendors, and after spending time in her operation, they said we could not improve your participation. We could not help. So it was a very positive back. The food recovery program, had someone reach out to me and said, you recognize that what you're doing in your county is a model of what we would like to see in the state. So again, she just said, oh, we're doing food recovery like it was nothing. The state comes and talks about it. When she talks about our breakfast increase at those 4 schools, she came, as you all know, we have a student advisory council for the superintendent. We meet with 3 representatives from each of our high school. She came and sat down here in the room and faced those 30-some students and just said, tell me about lunch. Tell me about our food, and listened to their comments. And the outgrowth of that was when we were invited to participate in that program, she did it. And my closing meeting with that Student Advisory Council, they highlighted as, you actually listened to us because we're seeing this breakfast program, and it was something that they had asked for. Could we do that? And then finally, the summer children feeding sites, that number has been growing exponentially, and she has continued that. And I just didn't want you to pass over the community sites that she's proposing for next year. That's community sites to be feeding in our community. And so as I started talking about our United Way participation, we believe this community will only be as healthy as the school system. And that's her example of, we're going to reach out into the community beyond the normal serving time. So she and her team are to be commended. They're not resting on their laurels, but they're moving forward. And so I just wanted to make sure you all knew good things are happening in school nutrition.
Thank you, Dr. Booker.
I have one question, if it's okay. You mentioned you mentioned that high school students could grab and go. So after the first period, they can come through, pick up a little sandwich, and are the teachers okay with that when they go to their second period?
Yes, well, the principals involved, and I think Dr.
great.
Wilson was here, but they've been awesome in helping us with that. And they have assistant principals there, and we have actually purchased carts with the grant money. So it's like a little kiosk that goes to meet the students by the door. It's amazing. It really is, and they love it.
And that's, Ms. Guthrie, you make a great clarifying point. That's why she didn't identify the schools for next year yet, because we need to meet. She goes and meets with the principal and their leadership team as a partnership to say, this is a program we would like to bring to your school so that we can grow that. And that way, we think the participation is greater, and also you get the buy-in of the support. And so I think you'll see that next year be accepted, and you'll have other schools saying, how do we get to participate? And that's always a good way, because it takes, our custodial staff has to be on board, because there's the chance of that going around, as far as the trash and things. So it's great to have the numbers that you see there and the impact, and that makes it a lot easier on her sales job. So
It certainly does.
And she
Angela's
said
doing well.
dinner.
Yes,
You know,
ma'am.
I'm hearing dinner now. You've never heard
It's a
dinner
light
before?
meal, but it is 5 components, just like the lunch meal.
is.
Yes.
Mr. Collier?
Speaking on that subject, we know that a lot of the children in this county, unfortunately, the best meal they're going to get is at school.
Yes.
And so when we're expanding these programs, our summer programs, and even to the dinner program, it just warms my heart that we have people stepping up to do these things, and we're in a position to do that, because there's a lot of unfortunate children in this county, and I think it's wonderful. So a friend of mine was telling me where another state was taking some of their central kitchen food and somehow getting it to children of need. And I said, you should see what we're doing in our county. And so when I started telling him, he said, I had no idea. I had no idea we're trying to feed children over the weekend, trying to feed children during the summer, trying to feed them breakfast. And it's just, it makes me proud to be part of Gaston County Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ms. Cherry?
The percentage that you said serving breakfast, does that include the grab and go?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Because we do keep the cafeteria open as well, so they can either go to the cafeteria or to the kiosk, so it's total breakfast.
It's just phenomenal.
Yes.
Any more questions, discussion? We have a motion and a second.
A motion.
Yeah,
They already got it.
Ms. Guthrie, motion, and Mrs. Cherry, second. All in favor, please. All right, and it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the Gaston College Board of Trustees appointment, and this is an information item. And Mr. Todd Higgins.
Good evening, Chairman Moore, Vice Chairman Collier, members of the board, and Superintendent Booker. Tonight, we are presenting information to you regarding the Board of Education's appointment to the Gaston College Board of Trustees. Each year, the Board of Education has the responsibility of appointing one member to serve a 4-year term on the Gaston College Board of Trustees. The person chosen by the board for the 4-year term will serve beginning July 1st, 2019, and continuing through June 30th, 2023. When the board appoints a member to the Board of Trustees, an application and interview process takes place before the board votes on who to appoint. This week, we will prepare a news release for distribution and for our website with information about the appointment and the application and interview process. The application will be posted online. Citizens who are interested in the appointment will have an opportunity to complete the application and participate in the interview process. The deadline to submit an application will be 12 o'clock noon on Wednesday, June 12th. This will give the board time to review the applications before conducting the interview process on Monday, June 17th, prior to the regular board meeting. The appointment will be on the agenda for the June 17th regular meeting, with the person selected by the Board of Education joining the Gaston College Board of Trustees effective July 1st. Ideally, the person appointed to the Gaston College Board of Trustees should possess knowledge of community needs, awareness of the roles of the North Carolina Community College system and K-12 education, and an understanding of the relationship between county commissioners and funding for public education. And Chairman Moore, that concludes the information that I have about the appointment to the Gaston College Board of Trustees, and the information will be posted on the website tomorrow.
Right. Any questions?
Who will interview those people?
We do. We do.
We would do.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you, Mr. Higgins. Our next item on the agenda is board policy updates, and this is an information item. Mrs. Sonia McGraw.
Thank you, Chairman Moore, members of the board. Good evening.
Good evening.
This item on your agenda is an information item, and it relates to the newest board policy updates that come before you. And again, this is for information for you tonight. There's a list for your consideration on page 28 in your board book, but we will post full copies of those drafts online for your viewing, not only your viewing, but also viewing by the general public, and comment should they wish to do so. Just be reminded that these usually come to you from the North Carolina School Boards Association, and they typically come when there's been a change in the law or a change in a state board policy that requires us to then revise our own board policies. Several of those policies were mentioned earlier through the committee meeting summaries, including the one where we're to update our criminal background checks for our pre-K employees. Again, several of those have come to you through your committees. In fact, what I'd like you to know is that those updates have also come through various departments for stakeholder review, and also to make sure that our current practices are in line with those policies, and if they're not, that we realign our policies to conform to our practices. These will come back before you on the consent agenda at your June meeting, and certainly if you have questions about them before that time, don't hesitate to contact my office. Chairman Moore, that's the update for the board policies.
Any questions? All right. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. There are several items on our consent agenda tonight. Please take a moment to look at those items listed. Do I hear a motion to approve those items? Mr. Dedman, Mr. Hall, second. Are there any questions, discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. It's unanimous. Consent agenda is approved. That brings us to the time in our meeting to hear from our superintendent. Dr. Booker, do you have any comments?
Yes, sir, I have several. I appreciate your time to talk about. One, I want to just highlight a few things on the consent agenda. Our community seeks to know what's going on with the bond dollars. What are we doing? You have several projects there that reflect things happening related to bond, with window replacements, parking lot repair. All of these things will begin work once school is dismissed in several weeks. So that's part of that $20 million that was given to you by the county beginning to be spent. Also, the East Gaston Health Science Academy, I want to just make sure you all know how excited we are. Dr. Balknight has met with Kathleen Beeson, who is the number 2 at the hospital. CEO and President Chris Peak has had numerous conversations with me and Dr. Balknight about their willingness to see the school system be a model in the state of North Carolina. And there are a couple examples in other communities, particularly in Wake County and Durham, where the hospital has partnered and furthered the education of students, and with their partnership with Belmont Abbey and the whole continuum we can. And while this starts at East Gaston, he has made clear that he looks to us to provide him a solid workforce throughout his entire organization, which will take all of the school system. So it's really exciting. That was just a phenomenal announcement last Friday for our entire community. So I applaud Caramont and their vision for our community. Also, it was glossed over a little bit earlier about our media centers when we were talking about Ashbrook. If you visited one of the 12 media centers that have been touched, and this started back with Cherville Elementary, Mr. Ustry, the partnership that you were there for that unveiling of that, and it's just allowed us to maximize some of our resources with community resources, and we've now done 12, and we'll do another 6 this summer. Obviously, we have 54 schools to get to, but we are slowly working through those with available funds, and that is another thing people talk about. Ms. Guthrie knows, they'll say, well, what do you use a library for if nobody's books? We use a library for a lot of things, and you saw great evidence of that tonight, and I thank Mr. Montgomery and his team for highlighting that, because we continue to invest. It is the hub, and you'll see if you visit Stanley, if you visit the new school at Pleasant Ridge, how centrally located those schools are, and as we go back. So that's exciting things that you just approved as part of your consent agenda. But it is really hard to believe that we have 11 days of school left. And while our last day is Wednesday, June 5th, there will be a lot of activity between now and then, beginning with our end-of-year testing in elementary and middle schools this Wednesday. And then on Thursday, May 30th, will begin the high school end-of-grade testing. So a lot of preparation have gone on for that, and we could still use test proctors, so anyone who has served in the past as a test proctor, visit your neighborhood school. We pride ourselves on that. Well, please support your neighborhood schools. Several of you joined us last Thursday for our first graduation of the year. 41 students graduated from the early college high school at Gaston College, and they received their high school diploma along with the recognition that several of them had earned an associate's degree from the college. Numerous ones earned various college credits, so that was great. Please mark on your calendars Wednesday, June the 5th, where we will have Webb Street School and Warlick Academy graduation. So Wednesday, June the 5th. And then Saturday, June the 8th is the big countywide graduation day. And so we look forward to that. A lot of seniors are already having celebrations beginning with that. And we encourage them to not celebrate too much, to get through those end-of-course exams before they get too excited. There are a lot of other year-end activities that you have been invited to, and we encourage you to participate in field days. All of our high schools will have award programs and baccalaureate services, so please try and do those. A number of employee recognition programs have been going on. One that I want to make sure everybody remembers was our Evening of Excellence. That is a great partnership that we held 2 weeks ago, that meeting, and Wells Fargo has walked along this district all the way back to the days of Wachovia in sponsoring that event, and it was truly first class. And so we want to take time and congratulate Cody Cobes from South Point High School, who was named our Teacher of the Year. It is no accident that we have that event when we do, because that's Teacher Appreciation Week. And we always like to have it during that week to celebrate our teachers and to recognize all that they have done. And he represents some 2,000 outstanding educators. Earlier tonight, Laura Dixon was here, and she was selected as the Principal of the Year. She leads W.A. Best Elementary. Also, when Gardner Park was recognized, Dan Barber, who was the Assistant Principal of the Year, was recognized at that celebration. And still sitting out there is our Central Office Administrator of the Year, Ms. Rebecca Powers, who serves as your Chief Accountability Officer. So it is a great night, and I appreciate those of you who are able to attend. And if you didn't feel good about your school system and the people who work here, you just weren't paying attention, because they are great speeches and an awesome time. Another great celebration was our Star Teacher, Star Student Award ceremony last week at the Shield Museum. These are where our star students get to go back and recognize a teacher that had a great influence in their life. That program is always one of the highlights, and you need to bring your tissues, because they're always going to touch you with spots. So if you were unable to see that, and to our viewing public, I encourage you, Channel 21 will broadcast the recording of both of those events. This week, we'll start airing the Night of Excellence ceremony, and then the following week, we'll do the Star Teacher. You can also find it on YouTube videos. I'm sure that many of you know that this weekend is Memorial Weekend. We will celebrate Memorial Day by the schools being closed next Monday, and we thank all of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, and then we also want to remember those who currently serve as we celebrate Memorial Day. But all of school buildings will be closed those days. And has anybody heard it's our 50th anniversary? Well, it's our big 50th reception next on Wednesday, May 29th, which would be next Wednesday in the Gaston Conference Center. This is where we're going to take several of our events. Our school mentor luncheon is going to be included in this afternoon event. Our business and community partners, as well as just the culminating recognition of our 50th anniversary. It will begin at 4 o'clock in the Gastonia Conference Center on May 29th. Tomorrow afternoon at the Shield, we'll be recognizing our new Teacher of the Year, so the brand new Teacher of the Year to Gaston County, as well as a Teacher Assistant of the Year with a reception at the Shield. So please, if you would like to join us, that will begin at 3:45 tomorrow at the Shield. I appreciate you all taking the time, Mr. Moore, to recognize the doctorate degree I obtained. Numerous members of your school administration and faculty have received their doctorates this year. They all deserve a great recognition for that, because, as you know, we talk about being lifelong learners and our vision having a lifetime of learning. And I think there's no greater evidence than when we watch our folks. And when you saw during our classroom moment, she talked about we have advanced degrees and certifications. That's a reflection of all the work that they do. And our focus as a district, and you have supported that in every budget that we've presented for the last 6 years, to invest in professional development. And so we appreciate that, and it's not possible without your investment. But of all the thank yous, I think it's the time of the year where we need to say thank you to our students for the efforts they have put forth, and to remind them the finish line is there to finish strong. But we want to thank our parents for choosing Gaston County Schools. Yes. We know in today's world they have a lot of different options. We believe we are the best option, and we believe our results support that we're the best option. And we thank them for giving us the opportunity to provide a quality education to their students. And we believe this community is on the rise in many different areas, and that we are one of the shining stars in that. And so we thank them for allowing us to give them a quality education. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, Dr. Booker. Thank you for thank all of you for your time and attention. We look forward to our next regular meeting. And with that, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
We do not need a closed session.
Yeah, we do not need a closed session. Yeah.
Second.
All right. Mr. Dedman, Mr. Davis, any discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous.